Hey guys, it's Lynn. Welcome back. Today we are watching Lost Season 1, Episode 16. We're not going to do a super long intro this time. We're just going to go over a couple of small things and then we're just going to jump right into it. The first thing is that if I'm Jack or Saeed or Locke or Boone, basically anybody in the group that knows that there's another group of people out there and knows that Ethan wasn't just a random lone wolf out in the jungle, I feel like I would almost be more scared now that we've taken care of the threat of Ethan, because at least Ethan was a known quantity. You had at least some idea what you were dealing with that guy. Now, there are other people on the island. You just don't know how many of them there are. You don't know where they are. You don't have any idea what their intentions are. And with Ethan dead, you have really very limited options of how you're going to get any of that information. So I feel like that would be pretty terrifying. Claire's back, and even though she does seem to have amnesia about the majority of her time, not only while she was in captivity, but her time on the island in general, she is starting to have some very vague memories. Granted, it's about very small, inconsequential stuff like peanut butter, but that could be a sign that given a little bit of time, her memory will start to come back a little bit more. That's about it for my commentary on the previous episode here in the intro, other than to say that I do have one prediction. This doesn't have anything to do with the previous episode. We've only seen her a couple of times, but the older woman who's like the religious lady that has the ring from her husband, the one that keeps saying that her husband isn't actually dead. Given how this show has been written so far, I really don't think that they're going to write in a character who's going to say something like that multiple times to multiple people without there being a deeper meaning and a deeper truth to it. I think that somehow, and it seems crazy, so I don't have any idea how this would be true, but somehow her husband is still actually alive. If he went down in the crash with the rest of them, but he was in a different section and therefore wound up landing in a different part of the island, it seems insane that he could be out there just on his own for roughly a month. But I think that somehow we're going to find out that her husband is actually still alive. So just a heads up, hold on to your hats, because the theory that I am about to throw out at this point is complete just Twilight Zone level lunacy. I have actually gone back and watched through the first couple of episodes to see if there was any chance that I was right, and I am completely wrong, unless the writers are just completely not only misdirecting us, which is kind of what I was getting at in my theory, but for my theory that I'm about to put out there to be correct, they would have to be flat out lying to us, which is different from they let us assume something and it turned out that they were misdirecting us. There's a difference between that and just blatantly giving a character lines that are 100% lies. So feel free to go fire up your keyboards and tell me what a moron I am, but I'm going to leave it in the edit just because I think it's funny where this show makes my brain go sometimes, and you guys say anyway that you love hearing all the crazy theories, so this is definitely a wild one. Have fun. Let's get into it. The even crazier theory that has been going around in my mind, and I haven't gone back and watched the first couple episodes which would be the way that I could confirm this, but I need to know exactly what it was that she said to Jack before the plane crash about the guy that she was on the plane with. I need to confirm for myself whether she actually referred to that guy as her husband, because if she didn't actually say that and we've just assumed that that was her husband, then there's a possibility that her husband wasn't actually on the plane, and therefore her husband is actually alive because he wasn't in the wreck. Now that I'm talking it through, it's so crazy that really the crazy part is that I'm leaving this in the edit, and I'm going to go back and watch those episodes at some point before I put this out, and I'm going to figure out that I'm completely wrong and there's absolutely no way that that's correct. But you guys like big, bold predictions. That's my big, bold prediction. Feel free to laugh at me when it turns out not to be right. given my track record in the last couple episodes, it seems to me like the only way I'm gonna be right is if we get a shot of her wandering around in the jungle and there's some rustling in the bushes, and then I say, what if it's her husband? And then at that point, her husband will walk out of the bushes. But other than that, all my predictions seem to be wrong. I seem to only be able to accurately predict when somebody comes out of the bushes. Roughly 10 years ago, I said that we were gonna do a really short intro today. So we're just going to jump right into it. The only thing left to do is get to the featured comment from last week's episode. So we're going to do that, and then immediately we're going to jump into episode 16. Let's go. All right, time to do the featured comment of the week. This week's comment is actually one where multiple people sent me different variations of this basic theme of this comment. So I just picked one that I thought had an interesting little trivia nugget in it. So this comes from the user BAFMD, who said, odd thing about the old Scott and Steve confusion is the actor credited as Steve was seen being buried as Scott. I thought this was an interesting comment because there were multiple people who wrote me some variation of, was it Scott that got buried or was it Steve that got buried? In the interest of not spoiling anything for myself, I'm not going to look too deeply into whether or not this was an actual mistake while filming the show, or if this was something that was put in there just as a little, I don't know, random thing for them to throw in and get everybody all crazy and make everybody talk about. But rest assured, once I've seen the show from start to finish, I definitely will go back and dig into, I feel like there's some story behind this Steve Scott thing that I will definitely be looking up just for the sake of knowing that little bit of trivia. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump into the episode. Let's go.
Wake up. He's here. Come on.
Oh, all right.
Listen to mommy. This is really important. Get under the bed. Don't make a sound. Don't come out. No matter what happens.
I think this is young Sawyer. This guy's about to kill his mom.
Stop it! What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, that sucks. Ugh. Be real quiet, kid. Oh, all right. Don't need to be quiet anymore. Oh, that is a big animal right there. Yeah, Sawyer went friggin' caveman on that thing. But now you're in the jungle in the dark. The whispering voices again. It was something that Russo talked about. I was actually gonna say that I'm glad that the closed captioning isn't translating for me what they're saying. I know that they're not speaking a foreign language, but I'm saying translating as far as like, it's all in my earphones. It's all very muffled and indistinct. You just hear random whispering, but you can't really make out the words. I was just about to say that, and then the very last line, the closed captioning said it'll come back around again. I kind of wish it didn't do that. I'd like to kind of experience it just as the character did.
Boar took your dog.
It was dark, but yeah, pretty sure it was a boar.
Perhaps he wanted to go camping.
You enjoying yourself?
A little bit.
Saeed, what did you hear? After you ran into the French woman, you said you heard something in the jungle.
I was injured and I was exhausted. My mind was playing tricks.
What did you hear?
I thought I heard whispering.
What was it saying?
Why?
That's the problem with whispering. You can't really tell what they're saying, mostly.
What are you so afraid of?
Those two guys have been at each other's throats from the beginning. I really think that at some point they're going to kind of come to an understanding and actually make a decent team.
Okay, this is really awkward.
Oh, who are you, bud?
Hibbs.
I just need a few minutes. How you find women that beautiful to work your grift?
Fairly certain I said I'd kill you if I ever saw you again.
Figure that makes us even for the Tampa job.
What could possibly make us even for the Tampa job?
A Tallahassee job. Is that Robert Patrick?
Last week, one of of his regulars gets a little too sauced, starts running his mouth off about his glory days as a grifter. That guy, Frank Duckett.
You have any idea how hard it is not to make up one of those limericks with a name, last name like Duckett? There once was a man named Frank Duckett who had a... you get it.
Frank Duckett used to be named Frank Sawyer.
This is him.
He's in Australia. As long as this isn't like a Memento situation where he's just giving you info on a guy that he wants taken care of.
Did you get all the guns back?
All except one.
Who?
I'm gonna give you 3 guesses.
Sawyer. I can get it back.
If Sawyer had a gun, why did he hit the boar with a bat? That doesn't make any sense.
Let him keep the gun. It's not worth it.
What are you worried he's gonna shoot me if I ask?
I just don't want you to owe him anything.
That's fair. What are you making? Seriously, what is he making?
Thought I'd see if you wanted to go for a walk.
Sorry, I have to do something.
That's odd for him. Usually he does anything he can to spend time with her. Yay, you got your tarp back. Take it as a win and move on. Oh, the whispering in the daytime. Alright, it's not purely a nighttime activity. Oh, fuck you. That thing remembers you, bud. Locke's gonna kill it. No, no.
A boar wouldn't just attack you for no reason. What are you doing?
Gonna shoot it?
You are gonna get yourself lost or worse.
Then if you'll excuse me, I've got some revenge to tend to.
Sawyer's line here really gives away not only the theme with him for this episode, but just the theme with him in general, which is his need for revenge and his complete inability to just let anything go.
Hey, you must be Hibbs's mate.
Australia doesn't allow its citizens to carry handguns. You get nicked with this.
Not gonna rat you out.
Secondly, and a man who buys a compact 357 with hollow point loads, he's looking to kill. But when it comes down to it, if he finds he doesn't have what it takes to do the job, what I'm saying is, and should you find you're not a killer, there's no refund.
He might not generally be a killer, but in his mind, that guy basically killed his mom and his dad. Proper motivation. I feel like most people could do things that they normally would not be inclined to do.
You don't have to. I can bury him.
Yeah, till he rises from the dead. Dude, I know how this works. This is gonna end with you and me running through the jungle screaming and crying.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this line is actually a bit of foreshadowing, and that at some point we are actually going to see the scene that Hurley describes actually play out in an episode. In this scene, it seems like such a just kind of a funny throwaway line almost, and it's almost so insignificant that if this actually happened a season or a couple seasons after this discussion that they're having, you would never say to yourself, oh, I remember back in season 1, maybe it was episode 16 or 17 or somewhere in that range. Remember Hurley was talking to Charlie and he said blah, blah, blah. You would never think that. You would just watch it. And then on the second time through, when you hear that conversation again, you would be like, they told us years before it actually happened that that was what was going to happen. I really think that that's what they're setting up here. I think they're setting up something that either in the last season or somewhere in that range, this conversation and the subject of this conversation is going to swing back around, and it's going to be an aha moment for anybody who remembers what's being said here.
Catches me first because I'm heavy and... You alright?
Yo, Saeed, did you ever get that Gulf War syndrome?
That was the other side.
And what's the one when you're all like shell-shocked?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, that's it. Did you ever have that?
Why do you ask?
Because I'm worried about Charlie. I mean, he killed the guy. He shot him in the chest 4 times.
Who amongst us has not shot a guy a couple times?
It's a footprint based on the weight and the distance between strides. I'd say I'm following Boone for about an hour.
Don't take it personal when I tell you to go.
I want carte blanche. You can't track this boar without my help.
The good news is he doesn't really have to track the boar. twice now this boar has come to him. All he really has to do is walk around the jungle. The thing's gonna come at him again. Just saying.
Carte blanche.
It means blank check.
I know what it means. All right, you got a deal.
I want your gun.
Got any more of those?
I got a lot more everything. If you want to drink, you got to play.
Play what?
It's simple. You say I never, and then you finish the sentence. If it's something you did, you drink. Something you never did, you don't drink. I never kissed a man.
I never implied that I've been to college when I never have.
Bottoms up.
I never wore pink. I knew it.
Or it could have been a tie.
I've never been in love.
I've never had a one-night stand.
That's an easy one. Gotcha.
I've never been married.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never blamed a boar for all my problems.
That's not all his problems.
Never carried a letter around for 20 years because I couldn't get over my baggage.
Ah, you guys are going deep, huh? Shit.
I never killed a man.
Alright, that one stung quite a bit. It's probably going to be the man she was married to. I just don't know the circumstances around it. That was a good way of finding out some stuff about a couple of our characters without a bunch of otherwise pointless exposition. Interesting dreams you're having? Are you kidding? He came in and wrecked all your shit.
It ate all our stuff?
Nope. It ate your stuff.
Oh, I wish I had a good prediction right now.
Morning. What happened to your campsite? Picked up your path about a mile back. I thought I'd say howdy.
Peed on my shirt. Took my shirt out of the bag and peed on it.
Maybe it's got your scent. Doesn't like your cologne.
Things got it in for me.
It's a boar, Sawyer.
My sister Jeannie died when I was a boy. I fell off the monkey bars and broke her neck.
I fell off the monkey bars and broke my collarbone one time.
About 6 months after Jeannie's funeral, this golden retriever comes padding up our driveway and walks right into our house. My mother bursts into tears. Dog slept in Jeannie's old room on Jeannie's old bed and stayed with us until my mother passed 5 years later. Then disappeared back to...
So, you're saying the dog was your sister?
Saying my mom thought it was.
But my mother thought it was.
Here it comes. Oh, I know this guy. How's it going, fuckface? Recognize me?
Whereabouts you from?
Tennessee.
Love the South.
I was in Tennessee once.
In Australia long?
Only here to kill you. Come on, dude.
Name's Frank, by the way.
Who cares, Frank?
One shrimp and hot sauce.
Alright.
Can.
Are you sure about that, mate?
I can.
These bastards think Americans can't hold their liquor. What's your name, cowboy?
Sawyer.
To Sawyer. May find whatever he's looking for at the bottom of a glass. So, Sawyer.
Oh, shit.
Brings you to Sydney.
I know who you are.
You know why they call Australia down under, don't you? Because it's as close as you can get to hell without being burned.
How did Jack's dad die? He wasn't shot, right?
Put your hand on. Back in the States.
I was a chief of surgery. Yeah, I was.
Until my son sold me out.
Some people are just supposed to suffer. That's why the Red Sox will never win the damn series.
They actually did. You just didn't live long enough to see it.
Son, he's about your age. He's not like me. He does what's in his heart. He's a good man. And right now, he thinks that I hate him. He thinks I feel betrayed by him. But what I really feel is gratitude and pride. It took more courage than I have. There's a payphone over here. I could pick it up and I could call my son. I could tell him about all this. I could tell him that I love him. One simple phone call and I could fix everything.
Why don't you?
Because I am weak.
The fact that Sawyer has this conversation with Jack's father, that Jack never got to have and now will never be able to have, is kind of tragic. Like a lot of the stuff that Jack's father just said right there, like that's all he really wanted to hear from him. And like his dad said, like all it would have taken would have been one phone call. That's really sad.
It's business that you have. Will it ease your suffering?
Yeah.
Then what are you doing here?
Good point. This is a better time to do that anyway. You have some random person walking up on you. I feel like I would walk up to him with the gun out so he sees it, and I would hand him the letter, and I would say, I need you to read this letter out loud. And then once he's done with it and he knows who you are, then you kill him.
You here to check up on me?
You killed the man.
Who kidnapped Claire? Who strung me up and left me for dead? He deserved to die.
I wasn't saying I blame you for it.
When I was in the army in Tikrit in Iraq, car was rigged with a bomb. It killed his wife and 2 young children.
They caught the man who did it. I volunteered to be on the firing squad. Then, for no reason, I found myself waking up at night, replaying what I did in my head. What happened with Ethan will be with you for the rest of your life.
Any suggestions?
You're not alone. Don't pretend to be.
Look at these tree rubbings from his tusks.
You mean he's around here?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's got kids.
Wait,
Let's go kill
Sawyer?
those.
I thought it'd be bigger.
There, piggy, piggy, piggy!
Okay. Now we're being a little sadistic.
Find your own way home.
Sawyer,
There you go.
I got a letter for you. Dear Mr. Sawyer. Who?
Shut up and you'll find out.
He used to go by the name of Sawyer.
Oh, he's
Talking about?
got the wrong guy. That guy set him up.
You didn't have to. I would have paid. How do you know him? You don't know what you're doing, do you? I was gonna pay. It'll come back around.
Oh, that's interesting. It's the same phrase, and it was being whispered to him. Also, rewind about 30 minutes ago to the part where I predicted that he was getting set up to kill the wrong guy. As long as this isn't like a Memento situation where he's just giving you info on a guy that he wants taken care of. What's up, motherfucker? Time to die.
It's just a bore. Let's get back to camp.
Hey, you're making some serious progress on that raft.
Want to take that walk down?
Sure.
Yo, Sheriff. I made a deal with your girlfriend.
What did she give you?
Nothing she wasn't willing to part with.
That's why the Sox will never win the series.
What's that?
I said that's why the Red Sox will never win the series.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
It's just something my father used to say.
Your daddy. He a doctor too?
Was. He's dead.
Surgeon, maybe? Like to drink?
Why do you want to know about my father?
Yeah, I talked to him more recently than you did.
No reason.
Okay, so that was episode 16. Found out a lot more about a couple of characters. Got deeper into Sawyer's backstory. Found out that he thought that he killed the man who was responsible for the death of his mother and his father, only to realize that he had basically been set up and he had been sent to kill this guy because that person owed his, I don't know that you would call it business partner, or I don't know that you would call him a friend, whatever, that he was basically taking care of someone who owed another person money and was not at all the person that he was looking for. There's a little bit of a parallel with that between the way that Sawyer is dealing with that situation and the way that Charlie is dealing with the fact that he killed Ethan. We found out that Kate was married at some point. It's kind of implied in that conversation that that person might have been the one that she killed. It is interesting to me that we've now gotten multiple backstory episodes for Sawyer. We've gotten multiple back episodes for Kate and for Jack, and we still have not gotten any flashback episode for Hurley. I don't really know how that relates to anything. He's just one of my favorite characters, so it is kind of odd to me that we keep not getting a backstory from him. One small detail that I did notice at the end is that Jack is breaking up that wood with his feet. I'm pretty sure that implies that Boone and Locke still have the axe, which is kind of wild because it seems like that's got to be at least probably a week that they've had that thing. I mean, if Kate was gone, I'm sorry, not Kate. If Claire was gone roughly a week and Locke and Boone found the hatch while they were looking for Claire, then they've had that axe for roughly that amount of time. So about a week. It's kind of crazy that they would have that and people in the camp wouldn't be walking around going, hey, anybody seen that axe? Speaking of the hatch, I think that's 2 episodes now that we have not seen it. Maybe 3, but I think 2 episodes that we have not seen it. I think that Locke and Boone are still the only 2 people that even know about it, other than Boone told Shannon about it. Did he tell Shannon about it? No, he didn't. That was in his hallucination. So I think Boone and Locke are still the only 2 people who know about the hatch. So we'll see who else gets dragged into that secret. I think that's about all I got in terms of wrapping up my thoughts on this episode. If there's anything I've missed, please leave it down in the comments. Please, please, please do that in a way that does not spoil anything in the future. If you have not done it already, do me a huge favor and please, on your way out, hit the subscribe button. That would help me out big time. Doesn't cost you anything. Just basically helps support the channel. With all that being said, I'm going to get out of here and start editing. You guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.